yes, I'm going to tell you all about a story of how I had first seen the Mariana Trench. Now, I'll have you all know, I'm sure you've seen pictures, but if you don't know what the Mariana Trench is, ladies and gentlemen, it's basically the world's deepest trench. That's right, pretty fucking simple if you ask me. That's exactly what it is. Just a trench, nothing more. So, let me tell you all about this said trench. You see, down in the deep blue sea, it was... sorry, I almost started rapping again. You see, down in the deep blue sea, there was this trench, alright? And it's 10,000, hold on, what the fuck? 10,000 meters deep into the sea, the ocean. And it was a scary, scary thing to think about. Some people said it was the devil's anus, or the world's anus. It was somebody's anus. And it was scary. It was deep and it was scary, and I was like, hell yeah! It was kind of like if Savage had a butthole, it would be that butthole. That's what it'd look like, but like 100,000 times bigger. Don't show me. No, don't show me. I didn't want to see that. Anyways, it was a very deep, scary trench, so I decided, well, I want to investigate. But it started, you see. Well, I didn't know that I wanted to see it. You see, I was not aware that the Mariana Trench was a thing, because, let me recall, 1944. Me and a couple other British and American men were heading to one of the German, I believe, German facilities. It was something like Stöbelfabel, and it was a very German facility that basically worked on advancements for the World War. World War II. It was Nazis, all right? Nazi emplacement of a facility, and they were like, you know what we should do? Instead of advancing on land, why don't we just take them out on Navy? So they decided, with one of their most aspired scientists, Zansel Gruber. He was a very scary individual, you see. He wanted to build a submarine. I didn't know what a submarine was at the time, but it was basically this thing that floated, and then it could go below the sea, and it could shoot missiles out of it. It was scary as fuck. So he wanted to invent this specific submarine that was so big it could take on about... 50,000 to 100,000 Nazi soldiers, and they could dock at one of the ports in America, and they could invade America that way. Well, me and a couple hundred other men, all in regiments and brigades, got sent down there. British men and American men alike got sent there. I, at the time, was a corporal. Actually, no. Yes, World War II, yes, I was a corporal, and I was making my way up the ranks very specifically. I had already killed dozens of Germans in the past, and I'd killed a dozen more in the future. I was a very eager and avid German killer. I would not stop at anything. But, you see, this presented to become a great goal for me. When we arrived upon the German facility, which I cannot remember the name of now, our team was hiding out in the little bushels to the side, and we were deciding, what the fuck do we do here? But our captain, one of the most aspired individuals I had ever met, or not captain, it was General Eisenhower. He had sent us instructions. He was a very bright and very wise American general, one of the first wise American generals I had met. But he was a great man, and I loved him so. He told us, you need to find that submarine, and you need to sink that bitch. I was like, fuck yes, let's sink this motherfucker. So, we set out on it. We went into squads, and we moved up the alley, and eventually we found the submarine, and all its glory, sitting there like a shit stain on the earth. And I was like, fuck you, submarine. And I decided, fuck this shit. I'm going to get inside that bitch and I'm going to sing it so fast. Well, what I didn't understand was, as our squad got inside the thing, you see, this is the submarine, and this is where I was. I went inside the submarine and I investigated inside. But the thing activated right as I closed the hatch. I was dressed up as one of the German soldiers, and it began to sink below the surface. And so all the other American soldiers were like, holy shit, what the fuck? Oh shit, it's already going down. But I was inside, and I was determined to sink it. However, I decided, why not have a little fun with this thing before I sink it? This will make it in German, American, and British history all alike, so I might as well make some fun while doing it, leave a footnote in that history. So, I took over the German submarine, that's right, I took it over, the giant fucking vessel. I went up to the command room, and I held them all hostage. I pointed my gun, I was like, bitch, give me control or I will fuck you up. And they were like, Verstehen, Oschel, Ingel, Verben, Hüschel, or whatever they fucking Germans said. So I took it over, and they were sinking below the surface. This is when we were 1,000 meters deep under the hull, and I was already leading them. They had tried several times to raid the command room, but every single time they did, I threatened that I had explosives wired to the door, which I didn't because I didn't have shit when I got on, except for a pistol, a rifle, and a couple bullets. But that's not the point. I had a grenade, so I said, oh, if you come in this room, I will literally blow up this entire submarine, and we will all die a horrible death. At this point, though, I had already shot anybody who was unnecessary to the functioning of the vessel. So we sunk down, and then we're 2,000 meters now. This is about 2 hours into the mission, and we're 2,000 meters deep below the sea. I was looking out the window, and I was like, holy fuckaroni, stick on a schmick on a lick. This is amazing. I looked out, and the flashlight showed all kinds of things. It showed sharks, it showed fish, it showed bass, it even showed giant, deep blue whales. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking come on everything if I can't fucking see more of this shit. So I just had my face imprinted against the window. One guy thought he was brave and tried to run up and take the gun from me, but I fucking headbutted that bitch. And I threatened to execute him next time he did so. He got back to his post and there was nothing more of that. But as I held the deck up as such, I was like, holy shit, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to make them take a little exploration tunnel around this bitch. So they explored the ocean, and I got to see all part of it. I got to see the coral, I got to see a bunch of fish. I even saw this weird, like, this big-ass, it was this big-ass ship, you see, and it was very odd. It looked very odd. It was like this ship, and it said on the side, it said SS Titanic, and I had no idea why the fuck a ship as big as this was in the ocean, but I did not give two shits. So we went past it, and we got down to about 5,000 meters. Now, at this point, we were very deep into the sea. Everything was so dark, I couldn't see fuck all. So I told them, point your flashlights, and I want you to investigate these ruins. Well, it was pitch black, so we couldn't see fuck, but they eventually, they shine those big-ass flashlights, and they eventually saw this tiny little thing. I wish I could show you. It's like, it was about, honestly, compared to the giant-ass submarine we were in, it was about this big. And I was like, what the fuck is that thing? It had very long, elongated teeth, and it had a giant bulb on its head. It came out from a tendril. I can't remember what those things were. I never did investigate, but they were very creepy indeed. Well, not 5 minutes later, as we were shining our flashlight around once again, I saw a bigger one. Imagine this right here is the size of the vessel we're in. This was the size of the thing. Already we're in some sort of giant fucking cruiser that's like the size of a blue whale. So when you see something that's almost as big as that, you kind of shit your pants, and that's exactly what I did. Just let my contents flow right into the floor below, brown staining the fucking stainless steel. And they were like, "Versteile, goddammit, versteile." And I was like, shut the fuck up, you whoremongering faggots. If you didn't shit yourselves, you're dumbasses. That thing's so fucking big. Well, they did. They did shit themselves, but they didn't want to admit it. So they sat there embarrassed in their own filtering shit, and they kept functioning and operating the vehicle. Well, as soon as we saw the thing, I was like, fuck that. We're not going to let that thing live. I do not want that to be one of the non-extinct animals. I don't care if it's one of the few endangered species. We're gonna fucking make this bitch go extinct because that thing scared the shit out of me. So I said, launch missiles, And that's what they did. They launched it right out, came right out of the thing. It was like someone ejaculated right on the thing, but it was a horrible ejaculation. Just set the missiles, tons of them. I remember dozens of missiles went straight towards that bitch, blew it the fuck up. Blood and gore split all over the deck. I even got a little bit of the organ splattered over the front glass, and I was like, that's pretty dank, bro. Well, after that little misadventure, there was even more monsters to come. We even saw this giant snake-like thing. It was as big as the vessel. And at this point, I'm pretty sure there was nothing left in my anus. I had just all of my shitting contents right onto the floor. Nothing was, like, revealed, alright? Nothing was hidden. I'm pretty sure I, vomited, I shit, I pissed myself. I was just so bloody scared these times that I just did not know what to do. But every time the solution was, bomb that bitch. And so we did. Every monster we saw, we threw bombs at it. Some things were more resistant to it than others, and with those, I decided, well, I'm going to send a sacrifice after it. So, I got in, I rounded up a couple of Germans from below, and I shot them right out of the fucking hole, and they got eaten by said monsters, and the monsters were like, alright, well that's good enough, I'm gonna fuck off now, and that's what they did. Fucked off, and that's how we escaped some very scary deaths, let me tell you, horrifying deaths. Well, now let me tell you something. We're about 9,000 meters down, and I'm thinking, holy shit, what am I going to see at the bottom of the sea? Because the bottom of the sea was 10,000 meters or so, they told me. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to see? Well, 9,000 meters down, and I see this bloody monster. Now, this monster is so big, I swear to God, I thought the Atlantic Ocean was its fishbowl. As it passed us, I could see a single pupil. That's right, I had a giant-ass wall of glass in front of me, and all I could see was the very pupil of its eye. Well, by this time, I thought I couldn't shit anymore, but I'm pretty sure my organs left, and the entrails that I had in my body just completely shut out among my anus, and I was barely clinging onto life at this point. I had no idea how I was still alive, because this thing was so massive, I thought we were going to be eaten in one little gulp. Well, luckily for us, I decided we had used all of our missiles, we had used all of our available men for sacrificing. We only had one more thing. That's right, one more thing. Do you want to know what that was? It was these things. Lollies! We had little lollies. Now, I had no fucking idea what the Germans were doing, but they said they had Japanese prototypes of soldiers that could somehow get you immediately imprisoned if you were to touch them or think ludicrous thoughts of them. So I was like, we're going to use that. We had one. They were a specialty weapon. They were like a nuclear detonator. They could imprison anybody, anything. Well, I was like, we're going to shoot that bitch right out of the airlock, hope that it doesn't completely compress and pressurize into a small little crumpled ball. And that's what we did. We got that lolly. We were like, see you later, nigger. We opened the hatch and phew, right out the lock. Well, the monster saw it, and it was feeling a bit more lustful than others today, so it grabbed the lolly. Well, I'm happy to tell you, gentlemen, that it was because of that very lolly that I was able to survive to this day, because as soon as it touched that lolly, it got 15 to 20 years in prison, and it was not getting out of that prison anytime soon. I mean, seriously, as soon as it touched the lolly, just boop, disappeared, and I was like, holy shit, that thing's a deadly weapon. Well, we were able, sadly the lolly died because, you know, it was pressurized and crumpled into a fucking ball because we're 9,000 meters below the surface. Well, as soon as we avoided that, I'm sorry to tell you, about 5 days have passed now, and, sorry, not 5, about 20 days had passed under there, and all the Germans and myself were starving. We were on the brink of starvation. Well, I decided at this point I didn't need those sons of bitches anymore. After all, I could just fucking kill them and eat them, so that's what I did. Killed them and I ate them, except for the one guy who knew what to do everything. He knew how to operate the entire vehicle by himself. He was the captain. So I was like, I am the captain now. to understand. I am the captain now. And he was like, I understand. So, with that said, we were 9,999 meters below the surface, and I was about to see God's greatest glory, or rather, greatest mistake on the surface of this ocean. I was about to see the equivalent of Satan's asshole in play, but I did not know it at the time. So, we were almost able to see it when suddenly I got a phone call, and it went ring, ding, 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 ring, ding, 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 ding. I was like, I picked it up. I'm like, hello? And you will not believe it. It was the ultimate enemy. The ultimate enemy. The absolute worst possible public enemy you could have at this time. Does anybody think they have a guess of what it was? Anybody? Do you think it was Hitler, Stalin? Do you think it was God, Satan? Who do you think it was? Well, I'm willing to tell you exactly what it was. What? No? It was my mother. That's right. My mother had called me 9,999 meters below the ocean when I was about to see the greatest wonder of the world. And guess what she told me? She said, Mother! She said, Westshire, it's your bedtime. It's past 8. I haven't seen you in 20 days, you stupid cunt. Where are you? Well, I did a horrible thing that day, Anaku, and all of you others. I did a very horrible thing that day. It was the only way, the only solution I had for getting past this target. I said to her, I had to lie to her, and I said, Don't worry, Mummy, I will be home in a little bit, in about 30 minutes now. It was not 30 minutes. It was indeed 31 minutes. I had gotten home late by 1 minute, and I will tell you I've never had a sore ass in my entire life. But it was absolutely worth it, I think, in the end, because when I put down that phone, I saw the greatest, one of the greatest wonders I've ever seen in my entire life this day. Not even the Leaning Tower of Pisa put on top of the pyramids could combine together to create such amazing mass. No, you fucking chode. It was the Mariana Trench. That's right, I saw the devil's anus, and it was like, all of you who just arrived, it was like looking at Savage. If Savage had an asshole, which I'm sure she does, the sick fuck, it's like looking at her asshole. Just completely dark, but like multiply it. Well, it was like looking at both of your penis and her asshole combined. It was absolutely horrid, and at the same time fascinating. I was like, holy sweet mother of Jesus Christ and Satan, son of Almighty Lord above. This thing is amazing. So I turned around and I took one of those cameras off the shelf. Monty Python, now I'm taking a picture of the Mariana Trench, and that's what I did. I got one of the cameras and I was like, click, click, nigger. And I took that fucking picture. I went, click, boom. Picture. Sadly, on the way up, the submarine was very slowly crushed. You see, the submarine was not being able to maintain such deep temperatures, and so was slowly crushing ever so steadily. Well, as we got up to the surface, I just barely made it out. The captain, sadly, was, well, not sadly, because he was a German, but he was crushed with the submarine. He was screaming at me very slurs and racial slurs and very cuss words. Basically, he just didn't like me because I left him to die horribly in that depraved fucking submarine. Well, not only did I accomplish my mission and was given many medals and promoted to staff sergeant on that day, but I had also gotten a picture. I had witnessed the event of the Mariana Trench. And that, ladies and gents, mostly ladies, is the reason why I am the first one ever in this entire world in the history of man to have seen the Mariana Trench for myself. And that is a story, one of the many, many stories of the great General Reginald Westshire, leader of the British armies, leader of the Lancashire Fusiliers, honorary guard of the Queen's Guard, and avid storyteller, and avid drunk as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was my story. Anybody else who wishes to tell a story, go ahead and take us through it. Yes.